Hi there! I'm going to show you how to create a drop-down menu. So here I have a CodePen that has some HTML and some CSS over here. This particular drop-down menu consists of one level of nested lists, meaning we have a main list where some of the list items contain lists nested inside of them. Some of those being this services list and this products list. In our HTML you can see we have a nav element. We have a UL containing all of our top level LIs, that's all of these here, and then in products we also have a nested UL under that, so it's a whole nother list under our products. Start with our CSS. We have 3 properties on our UL elements to get rid of bullets and remove the default margin and padding that all lists have. Next, we've styled our LI tags. First, we have the float property. Floating all the LI tags to the left creates a horizontal navigation instead of a vertical list. If I disable the float temporarily, you can see the default behavior of the list. So I'll take that off. Next, we've removed the default margin and padding for our lists. And then we have this transition property. The transition property adds a bit of animation to our links. When you hover over them, you can see that the background doesn't change immediately, but it fades in and out. The first part of the transition value tells the browser which properties to transition. So this one's looking specifically for a change in the background property of our LIs. The second part tells you how long to take in seconds, so 0.3 seconds. And then the last is the timing function. This one tells it to ease in and out. So it slowly transitions in and it slowly transitions out from the change. So the change that it ends up seeing here is down below. We have our background changing on the hover state, right? And then this position relative is very important to the positioning of our drop-down menus. So by setting our LI elements to have relative position, and then below our drop-down menus to have absolute positioning, we can position all of the drop-downs relative to each of their parent LI elements. So home services and business services list here is positioned relatively to this services link. And all of these links in this list are positioned relatively to this products link. Absolutely positioned elements can also overlay other elements on a page. So our drop-downs are able to overhang our content if we had content right under here. To help you visualize what's going on here, I'll turn off the display none property on our sublist temporarily. You can see that each of these lists is positioned right under its parent list item. So having this display none under our nav UL, which looks for we find nav UL and then any ULs under that. So this will only find our sublists. Telling that to display none hides the drop down so that we don't see them on the page initially. Further down in our CSS, we have styling that allows the drop downs to display when we hover over the list items containing those drop downs. So our select is UL, LI, hover, bracket, UL. So this bracket tells the browser to look for an immediate child element of the element written right before it. So in this case, the LI that is hovered. So we're basically looking for a UL with an LI under it that is being hovered over, and then the immediate child of that to display again. So that's how these drop downs basically work. So going back up, we basically just have some styling. We have display blocks set on our links. This allows them to have a width and a height. And the rest of the styles are things you should be pretty familiar with, like color, text decoration. We've changed the font size. We've increased the line height. We've added some padding around, so that adds a little space around the link to give it a bigger clickable area. And then change the font family. Next we have the hover state for our LIs. This works for not only this top level, but these as well, because it doesn't specify any sub-level. It doesn't tell it only the immediate child elements, anything like that. So this will find any LI on this page that is hovered in the nav. This next section styles the drop-down lists themselves. We hide them with display none. Position them with absolute positioning, which again allows them to go out of the flow of the document and overlay other elements without affecting them at all. We set top to 100%, which tells the browser to position these lists at the bottom of the parent element. In this case, at the bottom of the LI that contains them. Left 0 moves it to the leftmost side of the parent element. Again, in this case, our list items. So these are positioned all the way to the left, along with the products link or the services link. And then we have our background. Next, we set a width for our drop-down LI elements. This is so that the background displays is the same size on all of our backgrounds. If I take this width off and put an ugly background on here, you can see that they're not all the same size. So adding a width makes sure your drop-downs are all the same size and also gives them a little more space. Next, we're changing the styling a bit for the drop-down menu links. They just have a little more padding on the top and bottom than the top links here, and a different line height. And that's it. Again, the main things that make this drop-down menu work are the display and positioning properties. So you can play around with the other properties to get a drop-down menu that works for your project. If you have any questions, contact your instructor.